Welcome back to Birds of a Feather. This is your daily Baltimore sports podcast. My name is Nathan Stroud, and today we're going to be recapping the Orioles and Rays series opener. This is the first game of a four-game series this week against Tampa, and unfortunately the Orioles did lose this game in a pretty big fashion. They lost this game 7-1. It really just was not the Orioles' day. It was really just a tale of two pitchers in this game. Ryan Pepiot was spectacular for the Rays, and Zach Eflin was kind of the opposite of spectacular. He was pretty garbage in today's game for the Orioles. Not necessarily what you'd like to see from Zach Eflin. Obviously, him and Tomoyuki Sagano are really the two guys on this pitching staff that you could really trust to go out there and give you a good, outing on the mound as a starting pitcher, and they've been doing it all season. Obviously, Zach Eflin's had, a couple of pretty bad games this season, but for the most part, he's been solid. This was not one of those days. He was not great in this game at all. 12 hits, 7 earned runs for Zach Eflin. Not a great day from him. Ryan Pepiot was great for the Rays. But Zach Eflin, who obviously was playing his former team tonight, the Rays were the team that we traded with to acquire Zach at the deadline in last year's trade deadline. But he just couldn't really get it going, and that really was the focal point of this game. Was the pitching was not great from Zach, and also the offense just really didn't do anything this game. The only run that the Orioles scored today was through a Adley Rutschman homer. So it was cool to see Adley get a bomb, but the Orioles really didn't get on base much. Really didn't do anything on offense. It was really just a great game from Ryan Pepiot. And this is a guy who we know is one of the more underrated pitchers in baseball. And we know the Tampa Bay Rays pitching has been phenomenal over the past few years, and that's really been the core of their team. And the Rays have had a really good season so far. When a lot of people thought that they were going to be last in the division this year, I think they're second right now in the division, and they're a great team. And also, this was the first time that the Orioles played in the AAA stadium that the Rays are currently located in while their stadium gets fixed in Tampa. It was a weird experience. There's a weird look to it as well. And, there's a lot of short porch home runs that can happen there. Like Adley's home run was a short porch home run. And then Nathaniel Lowe's home run was also a short porch home run in the first inning. So weird stadium, but at the end of the day, that's not an excuse, obviously, to lose because both teams are playing in the same stadium, so there's really no excuse to why you can't perform there. But the offense in this game kind of rolled over and died. It wasn't a good start from Zach Eflin. It kind of got out of hand a little early in the game, and the offense really just wasn't able to respond in this game. It happens. We've seen this happen a lot in the Orioles season, and it's going to happen to every single team. The timing of it is just a little bit odd because, again, the Orioles are in a major urgency right now to win games, and they really can't be just dropping games. Obviously, they're not going to go out there and win 25, 30 games in a row. That's just not going to happen, obviously. But them dropping one game here and there obviously isn't that big of a deal because at the end of the day, as long as the Orioles can win the series, that is what really matters. And now for the Orioles to make sure that they win this series, they're going to have to actually go out there and win the next 3 games in a row, which is obviously going to be tough. It's hard to beat a team 3 times in a row. It's hard to get a sweep no matter who you're playing in baseball. And this was a 4-game series against the Rays. Obviously, this is a divisional game. But we lose the first game. We're down 1-0 in this series. If you take 2 of the next 3, you split the series. If you lose 2 of the next 3, you lose the series. So at this point, if the Orioles want to secure the series, they're going to literally have to win the next 3 games in a row, which is obviously very difficult to do. But I believe in this team. I really do. I believe in the fight. This one game where, it was a tale of 2 pitchers and, one pitcher did better than the other by a lot, in a game like today, you're not really going to sit there and say, oh my God, the season's over. Oh my God, we're back to being trash. That's not what's going to happen. This offense just had a dud performance. They had a really good weekend against the Angels back in Baltimore where they got the sweep over them. They went on the road, game 1 against Tampa. Couldn't really get adjusted on offense. Ryan Pepiot's a great pitcher. It's no surprise that he did what he did tonight. But Zach Eflin just couldn't really get it going in a game against his former team. So let's just get into this game. So going over this Orioles and Rays game, obviously the Orioles in this game lose 1-7 to the Rays. This is actually the Rays' 40th win of the season, and the Rays and Orioles records right now are pretty much backwards. The Orioles are 30-41 now on the season. They are 11 games below 500. They were just 10 games below 500 yesterday. Back to 11 games below 500 for the Orioles, and the Rays are 40-32. They're actually 8 games above 500. So the Rays are having a really good year. A lot of people obviously thought they were going to be last in the division, with the Yankees, Orioles, and Red Sox being the true contenders. But this division, let's just say it's not really gone the way that a lot of people thought, other than the Yankees being first. But the Orioles in this game, not a great game for them. Not a great game on offense, and not a great game from the pitching. They really just did not have a good performance at all. Not really a lot of positives to say in this game. Again, there was only 4 total hits in this game. But the Orioles, again, lose this game 7-1, 30-41 record on the season, 11 games below 500. And hopefully they can go out there and win the next 3 games. Obviously, that's a lot to ask, but it sucks kind of losing the opener, because when you lose the opener, then all the pressure goes directly back to you to try and get back into the series, and you're kind of forced to have to win games. But we'll see what happens in the coming days in this series. But going over the Orioles' offense in this game, not really much to go over. Only 4 total hits this game, scored 1 run on the 4 hits, and the 1 run that they scored was a solo home run by Adley Rutschman. 0 for 2 with runners in scoring position, left 2 guys on base. So, again, there really was no opportunities to score in this game for the offense. The offense just didn't really do anything, and also the pitching wasn't great as well from Zach Eflin. So, just not a great game for the Orioles. Just a game where everything kind of went wrong. One side... It's not like one side did its job, one side didn't. It was a collective loss from the team. Nobody really played well, other than Adley with his solo home run. But Jackson Holliday in this game, he went hitless. He went 0 for 3. Adley Rutschman went 1 for 4 with obviously the solo home run, which is the 1 run that the Orioles scored. Gunnar Henderson went 1 for 4. Jordan Westburg went 1 for 2. Ryan O'Hearn went 0 for 3. Ramon Urias 0 for 3. Cedric Mullins 0 for 3. Colton Cowser 0 for 3. And look who's down here at the bottom batting ninth. Dylan Carlson 1 for 3. This man continues just to get 1 to 2 hits a game, man. I mean, is he on a hitting streak right now? I gotta check to see if Dylan Carlson is on a hitting streak. This man seems like he gets a hit every single night. So he had a hit tonight. He had a hit last game, so he's on a 3-game hitting streak right now. But then he had an off day on the 13th, and then he went 3 for 3 on the 12th against Scooble. Oh my God, Dylan Carlson! Shout out to Dylan, man. He keeps finding a way to get on base every single game. It might not be the most exciting stat line in the world, but his average is at a 241 right now, man. It has really gone up. I remember when his average was at a 170. But shout out to Dylan Carlson, man. Every single day player for the Orioles right now with some of their outfielder injuries. Obviously, Tyler O'Neill specifically I'm talking about. So we'll see what happens. Speaking of Tyler O'Neill, and speaking about some Orioles injury updates as well, Tyler O'Neill, I think he's taking a shot where he can't do any sort of activity for a week, but after that he'll be ready to go. So Tyler O'Neill will be returning to the Orioles. He obviously does not have a lot of at-bats and plate appearances for the Orioles, and he hasn't really done anything in those plate appearances as well. This is obviously one of the Orioles' major signings that they had this offseason. Him, Charlie Morton, Tomoyuki Sagano, those are actually 3 of the highest paid players on the Orioles. And, Tyler O'Neill, obviously a lot of expectations for him. He really has not lived up to it. This guy was the Anthony Santander replacement. Anthony Santander obviously hasn't really done anything this year. Neither has Tyler O'Neill. We'll see what happens. I don't even know if Tyler O'Neill's going to be getting everyday playing time when he comes back, because I'm going to be honest, at this point, I'd rather have Dylan Carlson. Tyler O'Neill has the pop value. Obviously, he's a home run hitter. He's a power hitter at heart, but he really just struggled getting on base. He also strikes out a lot, which he has done this year in the little time that we've seen him. But we'll see what happens with that. But some more major Orioles injury news. It was announced this morning that we are putting Cade Povich on the 15-day IL list with an injury. This is a big deal. Obviously, Cade Povich is an everyday or is a rotational guy for the Orioles. He's a guy who's in the starting pitching rotation. He's somebody that he's part of the rotation, which at the end of the day, if you are a key part of the rotation, then you're important enough, obviously, to care about in terms of, your health and stuff like that. This is a guy who every single time it goes back to him, he plays. Like, he is part of the rotation for the Orioles, and that's just another pitcher that's hurt alongside Grayson, alongside Kyle Bradish. Now, I don't know if the injury is going to be major. They said that there was optimism that it wasn't going to be major, but Cade Povich is on the IL list. We brought Colin Selby back up. He actually pitched today, came out of the bullpen, solid player, whatever. But the biggest thing for me is now that Cade Povich is not pitching for us right now. So our rotation right now sits at Eflin, Sagano, Kramer, and Morton. Those are the starting pitchers that we even have available right now. Every other pitcher we have is out of the bullpen, and the Orioles really have two options, right? Tony Mansolino really has two options right now. Also Mike Elias as well, because he's the one calling people up. But the Orioles have two options. One, whenever it gets to the Cade Povich rotation day, obviously with him not pitching, you either go out there and do a bullpen game, which bullpen games a lot of the time do not work unless you have 2 to 3 very, very solidified starters. The only other team that really runs bullpen games a lot is the Tigers, but they have Skubal, Jack Flaherty, and Casey Mize, who have all had excellent seasons so far, so they can get away with it because their bullpen is rested for the most part because those guys go long innings. The Orioles, on the other hand, really are not in a position to do bullpen games that often. So they either do a bullpen game, right? Maybe throw Keegan Aiken out there as the opener, and then you just go through your bullpen like a normal bullpen game. Or the Orioles' other option, which is the option that I hope they really decide to go after, is calling Trevor Rogers back up. And I know that might sound crazy, and if you told me that I would have said that 3 months ago, I would have called you insane. But Trevor Rogers, obviously, he started one game this year for the Orioles. And the one game that he started against for the Orioles was against the Red Sox in that 4-game Red Sox series that kept getting rained out, delayed, pushed all over the place, whatever. So Trevor Rogers pitched in one of those games, and the Orioles won in that game largely because Trevor Rogers pitched 6.2 innings scoreless and had 6 strikeouts and only gave up, I think, 2 hits and 0 walks. So that start by Trevor Rogers is literally one of the best starts by an Orioles pitcher this season. If you look at the season as a whole, that is one of the best starts by an Orioles pitcher this year. And it would be really cool to see Trevor Rogers get another chance because, again, in the one start that we did see him this year, he was excellent. And even after that start, I said I would love to see Trevor Rogers get another start here in this rotation. I would love to see him go out there and do his thing. Obviously, Charlie Moore then eventually came back to the starting pitching role, which he's had a lot of good starts here recently. So we're just going to kind of ride that momentum as we can. But I really think that the Orioles need to give. I really think the Orioles need to give Trevor Rogers another chance. So the next time that it goes to a Cade Povich day, or maybe here in the next few days, I would really like to see Trevor Rogers get called back up. I think that he has potential to be just a solid, 4 or 5 guy in a rotation, and that's really all we need him to be. He's not going out, he doesn't have to go out there and, be the ace of the team or whatever. He just has to go out there and replace Cade Povich, who already was a 5-6, a 4 or 5 guy in a pitching rotation. So as long as he can replace him, that'd be cool. It's just an idea. I'd love to see Trevor Rogers get another chance. I don't know if we're going to do it. I don't know if Elias is going to call him up. I don't know what's going to happen. I think that's the smarter deal, and I really do think I think it's going to happen. I'm not sure. We'll see what happens. Anyway, I just wanted to kind of go over that because that is a pretty big injury for the Orioles. But going over to the pitching in this game, the Orioles only used 3 pitchers in this game. But Zach Eflin obviously was the biggest problem in this game. Obviously, he got through 5 innings, gave up 12 hits, 7 runs, 2 walks as well, and had only 2 strikeouts and gave up 2 home runs. So he allowed 14 base runners to reach base for the Rays. That is insane. 12 hits, 2 walks, 14 total base runners Zach Eflin allowed. He gave up 7 runs, 2 home runs, and only had 2 strikeouts on the day. I'm really surprised actually he got through 5. To be honest with you, for a stat line like that, giving up 7 runs, him getting through 5 innings isn't necessarily the worst thing in the world. Obviously not a good start, but for him to get through 5 innings and save the bullpen a little bit was a little nice. Gregory Soto then came into the game, got 3 strikeouts in an inning, struck out the side. He did great. Then Colin Selby in the game got through 2 innings in this game, gave up 2 hits, no runs, no walks, and had 5 strikeouts. So Colin Selby in his 2 innings today, since being called back up, did actually pretty good. Allowed 2 hits, but no runs, no walks, had 5 strikeouts in 2 innings. Not bad by Colin Selby. Maybe he's going to be somebody that's going to be very valuable to this bullpen. Obviously, this Orioles bullpen has been great. They're one of the better bullpens in baseball. The biggest problem with this Orioles team has obviously been their starting pitching and their offensive inconsistencies, like you see today. Because yesterday they go put up 11 runs. Today they only go and put up 1. So it is only game 1 of the series. They do have game 2 tomorrow against Tampa, and it is going to be Dean Kramer versus Zach Littell. Both pitchers, pretty similar seasons. Littell with a little bit better of a season than Kramer. Obviously, the Orioles a lot of the time are going to be outdueled in the pitching matchup in terms of statistics, but hopefully Dean Kramer can go out there tomorrow and have a good start. He's been having some decent starts recently. Last time he started was against the Tigers in that game against Skubal, where he went 7 innings in that game. He gave up 4 runs, but he went 7 innings in that game, which really did save our bullpen. So hopefully Dean Kramer can go out there, fight, get a lot of innings, eat a lot of innings, and also, not giving up too many runs in that game. So hopefully Dean Kramer can hold it down for us tomorrow. Zach Littell, hopefully the Orioles can get after him early and get things going. Hopefully the Orioles can tie the series up 1-1 going to tomorrow, and that's going to be kind of all the focus for that game and this series moving forward. Another little thing that I wanted to go over today in this episode was the first batch of All-Star votes did actually come out today for the MLB, for the MLB All-Star Game. So when you look at the American League, obviously we're looking for Orioles players, and for the way that the All-Star voting works is the top 2 voters per position automatically get into the All-Star Game, and for outfielders it's the top 6 voters automatically get into the All-Star Game, and then obviously the reserves get chosen by a bunch of different people. But when we look at the voting, we look at the All-Star voting, there are Orioles scattered around all through here in terms of top 10 voting. Starting off with catchers, obviously Cal Riley is leading in votes. Obviously, he's been the best catcher in baseball this season. He's been spectacular. Not just the best catcher in the American League, but best catcher in baseball. He has 26 home runs. He's been amazing. But if you look down at number 7, you see Adley Rutschman down there at number 7. Obviously, I don't think he's going to get in from a voting standpoint, but it's cool to see Adley out there in the top 10. For the first baseman, Ryan Mountcastle's there at number 7. Don't really know why. Second baseman, this is where it's very exciting. For the second baseman in the American League, if you go look here at number 2, Jackson Holliday is sitting there at number 2 on second baseman voting for the All-Star Game. Right behind Gleyber Torres. So if Jackson Holliday gets into the All-Star Game, first of all, that would be really, really, really cool for a 21-year-old player to get into the All-Star Game and in his first full season in the majors. That would be amazing, and that would be really, really, really cool to see. Right now, he's neck and neck with Altuve, Altuve's at 3rd. There's a pretty big gap between 5, 4, and 3, or really 4 and 3. There's a really big gap. So Gleyber Torres is first right now with 535K votes. Jackson Holliday's at number 2 with 449,000, and Altuve is 3rd with 446,000. So Holliday and Altuve are neck and neck for number 2. So make sure to vote Jackson Holliday for the All-Star Game, because he really could get in over Altuve at 2nd, which would be really cool to see. Seeing Jackson Holliday in the All-Star Game would be great. Him and Ryan O'Hearn are obviously the 2 guys that I'm expecting to get in. Jackson Holliday, I'm not even really expecting to get in. It would just be really cool to see. But he really has been one of the best second basemen in the American League this season. So it's cool to see him it's cool to see him getting recognition, not only from O's fans, but from fans all around baseball. seeing what Jackson Holliday's been doing. So Jackson Holliday is in the top 2. That's really cool to see. If you go over to the third baseman, Ramon Urias is in the top 10. He's at number 9 with 112,000 votes. Obviously, he's not going to win that. He's not going to be in the top 2. Obviously, Ramon's not going to make the All-Star game either. But it's cool to see him get a little bit of recognition there as well. If you go over to the shortstops, now this is where it's a little interesting because last year, I think Gunnar was first in shortstops. He was the most voted shortstop. So Gunnar was automatically the starting shortstop in the All-Star game last year, but obviously we know what Gunnar Henderson did in the first half of last season, and really just in the season in general. But Gunnar Henderson right now is 7th in American League shortstops, with Jacob Wilson, who's the phenomenal rookie for the A's, and Bobby Witt Jr. They're top 2 right now. But Gunnar Henderson's sitting at 7. Obviously, he's not really having the season that we expect from Gunnar Henderson, especially from a home run perspective. But obviously, he is our guy. He is part of he's one of the franchise players of this team, and we still believe in him all the way. But if we go over here to the designated hitters, this is the big one. So what's funny about this is the designated hitters list for the All-Star game was actually much different. So if you're watching on YouTube, you can actually see it on your screen. But if you're listening on Spotify, Ryan O'Hearn is currently first place in designated hitter voting, and he has about an 130,000 vote lead over Ben Rice, who is at number 2. So Ryan O'Hearn has a pretty good lead right now as the number 1 voted designated hitter in the American League, which is really cool to see. Ryan O'Hearn's been having a great year for the Orioles. He's been struggling a little bit recently this month of June. He's been struggling a little bit. His average is still really high. He's still having a great season overall. But Ryan O'Hearn right now is first. But Ryan O'Hearn shouldn't technically be first. I mean, he should technically be first, but there was a player that was over him yesterday, obviously, in this voting, and that player is Rafael Devers, who is obviously the DH for the former Red Sox DH, I should say. He did get traded to the Giants, who are in the National League. So right now, if you look at the National League designated hitter list, Rafael Devers, I think he had like 700,000 votes, so he would have been far and away first place in the American League. But since he got traded to the NL, Ryan O'Hearn is actually first in designated hitter all-star votes. So, people want to talk about who's winning the trade between the Red Sox or the Giants, and obviously the trade was a big discussion yesterday, but I think at the end of the day, Ryan O'Hearn actually really won that trade, because Ryan O'Hearn is first place right now in designated hitter all-star votes because of the Devers trade, because Devers is now in the NL. I think he's second to Ohtani in the NL right now in designated hitter lists, but Ryan O'Hearn is first, which is really, really cool to see. Not only the recognition from Orioles fans, but the recognition from the MLB in general, seeing what O'Hearn's been doing, all-star O'Hearn, as we know him. So hopefully O'Hearn, keeps this lead. I think he will. It's a pretty big lead. Obviously, make sure to keep voting for Ryan. But it's really cool to see O'Hearn at first, and also the way that he's first is a little bit funny as well. Going over to the outfielders, there is one Oriole listed on this whole outfielders list, which makes sense. A lot of the Orioles outfield has been hurt quite a bit this year. When you look at Tyler O'Neill, when you look at Colton Cowser, when you look at Tyler O'Neill. Tyler O'Neill, Colton Cowser, Heston Kershaw's played a lot, Dylan Carlson's played a lot. But the player that is on here for the outfielders for the Orioles is none other than our guy, Cedric Mullins, who I actually thought he'd be a little bit, a good bit higher than what he is. Obviously, I don't expect Cedric Mullins to make the All-Star game and be in the top, 6 voting. But I'm a little bit surprised that he's all the way down here at number 20. He's the 20th highest voted outfielder in the American League with 123,000 votes. But there's players above him like Jake Myers, Nathan Lukes, Taylor Ward, guys like that, who I think that he, definitely is an argument to be over. Cedric hasn't played the whole season, obviously. He's been out for some games with injury, obviously went to IL for a little bit. But it's cool to see Cedric still on this list. So, obviously, Adley, Ryan Mountcastle, Jackson Holliday, Ramon Urias, Gunnar Henderson, Ryan O'Hearn, and obviously Cedric Mullins. So there's an Oriole in every single category, but Jackson Holliday and Ryan O'Hearn are obviously the two big ones. Jackson Holliday being second in second baseman and Ryan O'Hearn being first. So good luck to those guys moving forward throughout the rest of voting. But one more thing that I wanted to kind of show throughout this is some Ravens news for all the people that have been kind of waiting for the Ravens news. I do got some Ravens news for y'all. And the first thing is just the Ravens Media Day did actually start today. This is Ravens Media Day. Obviously, every team does Media Day, but the Ravens always seem to do it and go a little extra hard every single year. The quality that they put in, their media team is really, really, really great over there in Baltimore. Everything that they do in terms of like the media and the social media pages and the presentation as well has always been top tier when it comes to the Ravens. And it's cool to see some Ravens content. Obviously, whenever you see your team do a media day, that's just another sign that football season is even closer. And obviously, football season does start early September. Really starts in August if you want to count preseason, which obviously we're going to be going over preseason stuff for the Ravens. But it has been kind of a dead period a little bit. Obviously, we talked about the draft a lot and did a lot of mock drafts when that was going on. But recently, there hasn't been a ton of stuff going on. This week is actually when mandatory camp starts. I actually think it starts either tomorrow or Wednesday, so we're going to be talking about the Ravens a lot this week regarding their training camp stuff. We're going to be going over some quotes that some people are reporting, giving opinions kind of on some stuff going on, some little storylines in practice, who's doing good, who's not doing good, and just kind of highlight those things going on. But going over some Ravens Media Day posts. Just kind of wanted to go over a few of these because they are obviously really cool to watch. So if you're on Spotify, you can't really see this. So if you want to see this section, if you're listening on Spotify, make sure to check out the Birds of a Feather YouTube channel and just kind of skip to like the 25-minute mark or so, and you can see some of these pictures for Ravens Media Day. But here we got Derrick Henry looking scary as always. Obviously, we love this guy. He's the machine. Obviously signed an extension with the Orioles as well. Going to be here for the next 3 seasons in Baltimore. He's probably going to retire here. We love Derrick Henry. I mean, look at him. Still looking in shape. Still looking buff. Still looking scary as always. And hopefully he's going to have a season just like he had last year, or maybe even better. Maybe with those 2,000 yards and get that movie with Adam Sandler. If you know, you know. We'll see what happens though. Derrick Henry looking great. Then we got a picture here of Rashad Bateman looking great as always. I mean, look at Bateman, man. Another player that the Ravens extended just actually like less than a couple of weeks ago. The Ravens extended Bateman for another, I think it was 3 years. So Bateman obviously back with the team long term. Had a breakout season last year. From a numbers standpoint, wasn't anything spectacular. But when you look at the Orioles offense, it is kind of we feed everyone on the Orioles offense. You got Bateman, you got Zay, you got Derrick, and obviously you got Lamar getting his own stats as well. So you got Bateman right here. He's looking great, looking great. And then here, this picture is so cool. DeAndre Hopkins in his Ravens uniform, officially in his Ravens uniform, with the helmet, with the pads, with everything on, with the game day fit. DeAndre Hopkins looking great in a Ravens uniform. I'm not just saying this because this is Ravens channel. I'm not just saying this because I'm a Ravens fan. He looks great in purple. He looks great on the Ravens. And if you've been keeping up with the Ravens over the past few years, when DeAndre Hopkins was moving from, the Cardinals to the Titans to the Chiefs and all that stuff, you would know that the Ravens kind of were brought up a lot in those conversations of teams to get DeAndre Hopkins. When he went to Kansas City, there was rumors that, Baltimore would look into it. When he went to Tennessee, even from Arizona, there was rumors that Baltimore would look into it as well. So DeAndre Hopkins is obviously on the older side. He's at the end of his career. But this is a guy who, again, I really look at as someone who can make a big difference. And a lot of people want to compare this to the Odell Beckham Jr. signing. But what I have to say about that is DeAndre Hopkins at this stage of his career right now is better than what Odell Beckham Jr. was at the stage of his career when we signed him those couple of years ago. You can look at the stats, you can argue it, you can do whatever. But DeAndre Hopkins last year for the Chiefs actually did play a pretty vital role, especially with them not having Rashee Rice. He was a guy who was consistently just reliable. He doesn't have to go out there and get 100 to 150 yards and play like he did on the Texans. He just has to be reliable for Lamar. He has to be somebody who can maybe look at in the end zone, just somebody who can look at to get first downs, just be someone that's reliable, that is not going to drop the ball, someone that you can go to that is just reliable. That is what DeAndre Hopkins' role is going to be. Obviously, we look at him as a wide receiver 3. He is the wide receiver 3 on this team. Todd Monken, our offensive coordinator, did say that he kind of views them all as a wide receiver 1, but we'll see what happens. If DeAndre Hopkins really does got that juice left in him, we'll see what happens. It's going to be very exciting to see D-Hop as a Raven. I'm really excited to see the impact that he's going to make. Obviously, when we signed Derrick Henry, everyone said that he was too old, and then he went out there and almost put up 2,000 yards and had one of the best seasons, if not the best season of his career. So I'm not saying DeAndre Hopkins is going to go out here and guaranteed be a superstar and turn back time, but it's possible. It would be really cool to see DeAndre Hopkins make a difference. And I'm really excited to see the impact that he's going to make. Again, he looks great in this purple and white, and the purple and black as well. DeAndre Hopkins looking great on the Ravens, and I'm so happy that he's here. This was obviously the big move that we made over the offseason in terms of bringing in new players, and it was a perfect addition, perfect veteran addition as well. When you look at guys like Bateman and Zay, the 2 young guys, this is the perfect guy to be mentoring them as well as they move on throughout their career. And I can't say more good things about this signing. And again, he's going to be somebody that we're really going to have to look at this upcoming season for the Ravens. And then going over a little bit more, got a little video here of D-Hop, Bateman, and Zay, all 3 of the receivers chilling, taking photos. They look great. Very excited for this receiver trio. I think can be one of the better receiver cores in the league. And to say that for the Ravens is crazy because they've consistently been, mid to bottom of the league in terms of receiving core. But we really have the talented, if not, one of the most talented, if not the most talented offense in the NFL. And you can argue with the wall with that. You can, take that to the bank all day long. But this team's really got it, man. We're going to talk a lot more about the Ravens, obviously. We're going to talk about what we expect from them this season. We're going to look at the season in general. We're going to look at the upcoming stuff this year. And if you know, this Ravens team is going to be very deadly. Obviously, Super Bowl aspirations. It really is Super Bowl or bust with this team. It's going to be very, very exciting. And seeing these Media Day videos and photos just gets me so excited for the season to start, man. I cannot wait. And then the last little video we show here is Lamar Jackson in the flesh. Look at the hair. New hairstyle for Lamar at Media Day. He's ready to go, and the Ravens are ready to go as well. But thank you guys so much for tuning into and listening to this episode of Birds of a Feather. I know this episode was a little bit longer than usual, so sorry about that, but I hope you guys enjoyed this content. If you did, make sure to subscribe on YouTube, follow up on Spotify, make sure to click the link in bio, in the bio of whatever site you're watching on to check out the socials, the Instagram and the Twitter. I live tweet during all the Orioles games and also any updates that go on as well regarding the Orioles and Ravens, and I also post updates on my Instagram as well, so make sure to follow both of those pages. Make sure to subscribe on YouTube, follow up on Spotify, make sure to like the video on YouTube as well. I would greatly appreciate it, and I appreciate all the support that y'all have given me so far up to this point. We're moving along with the show, having a ton of fun. Hopefully the Orioles can get a win tomorrow to even up the series, and we'll see what's going to go on with the Ravens tomorrow. We're going to see if there's going to be any new news going on with the Ravens, any big stuff going on in OTAs. I don't know if it starts tomorrow or on Wednesday. I think it actually starts tomorrow, so we might have a lot in store very soon as we move on with this summer. But again, I appreciate you guys so much. I'll see you guys in the next one. I'll have an episode up sometime tomorrow night, probably around the same time, talking about the Orioles Game 2 against the Rays, and also any Ravens updates as well. So you see you guys in the next one. You have a great rest of y'all's day. Go O's, go Ravens, and I'll see y'all later. Peace out.